Hello and welcome tonight. The Vice President visits Borno State. Professor Osinbajo shows IDPs of government's determination to end insurgency. 2 suicide bombers blow themselves up near a hospital in Maiduguri shortly after Vice President Osinbajo's arrival in the city. Amina Zakari assumes office as the acting chairperson of the INEC. The PDP rejects her appointment as boss of the electoral body. And Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras makes a defiant speech urging a no vote in Sunday's referendum.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's Purchasing Managers Index of manufacturing activities rises to its strongest level since February 2014.
While on sports news, table tennis star Segun Toriola sets his sights on making history as he seeks his 7th appearance for Nigeria at the Olympics.
We'll begin tonight with the visit of the Vice President, Professor Osinbajo, to Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, in the wake of the recent bomb attacks in the northeast state. The Vice President earlier today visited and arrived Maiduguri airport, where he was received by the Governor, Kashim Shettima. Together, they proceeded to pay a courtesy visit to the paramount ruler, the Shehu of Borno, Alhaji Abubakar ibn Umar. The Vice President explained that he is in the state at President Muhammadu Buhari's request to get a first-hand assessment of the living conditions of the internally displaced persons.
Please, this way, please.
Back on the main purpose on his visit, to visit internally displaced persons at Dalori camp, where he was received by a large crowd of IDPs. And after offering words of assurance to the internally displaced persons, Vice President Osinbajo visited the victims of bomb attacks at the Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. During the visit, he offered assurance that government is leaving no stone unturned to ensure a quick end to the insurgency so that the displaced persons can return to their various communities.
To have a physical on-the-spot assessment, which is what I've done. And we've seen, of course, you were with us in the IDP camps. We're able to meet with the people there, see how they live, see how they've been taken care of and all that. Clearly, the state government is doing an incredible job. NEMA is doing an excellent job. But the next phase is resettling the displaced persons in their homes and in their communities. That is the most important next phase. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here, to understand what the implications of that will be, what the financial implications will be, what the material implications will be, what the logistic implications will be. And that's exactly what we're trying to work out, basically trying to see for ourselves how and what needs to be done in this next phase. The federal government, of course, President Muhammadu Buhari is committed to ensuring that all of those who are displaced return to their homes, that as much as possible we're able to rehabilitate them, rebuild where that is necessary, rebuild homes, rebuild markets, rebuild the basic infrastructure where that is necessary so that they can go back home and they can continue their lives normally. So that's the reason why I'm here, and I've seen for myself. I've also had very extensive discussions with the major stakeholders here. So I'm leaving the meeting just now again, and I think that I have a fair idea of what needs to be done. I'm still going to come back, and the discussions are ongoing, and we're still talking about the basic issues and all of that. And so it isn't done yet. We're not done yet at all.
Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Well, shortly after the Vice President's arrival in Maiduguri to visit camps for people fleeing the Boko Haram insurgency, 2 suicide bombers blew themselves up near a hospital in the Borno state capital. The blast, which injured 2 people, happened at about 11:30 a.m. near the gates of a hospital where suicide bombers had killed 3 people and injured 16 last Saturday. The second blast is reported to have occurred 2 minutes after the first. It killed the bomber and injured 2 other people nearby. It was not immediately clear whether the bombers had been targeting the hospital again or whether the bombs had gone off accidentally. Meanwhile, the alleged transfer of Boko Haram suspect to the Equilobia prison has attracted protests from not only Anambra traders but also their counterparts in other parts of the southeast. They argued that bringing Boko Haram suspects to Equilobia may threaten their lives and safety. They are appealing to the relevant authorities to reverse the action.
Equilobia roundabout was the rallying point of this latest protest by traders of the southeast, which took place in Anambra State. Numbering in their hundreds, the traders who decided to do a follow-up of these protests carried placards showing their displeasure, condemning the alleged transfer of some 47 Boko Haram prisoners to Equilobia prison, and asked the federal government to rescind such decision as the southeast continues to grapple with kidnapping.
All the Igbos in the southeast are saying no to the transfer of Boko Haram inmates to the southeast. Already we have a pressing problem that is eating up us here. That is the issue of kidnapping. And we don't want these people to bring down Boko Haram here. Let them send back all the inmates to where they come from.
It's not just the traders who are speaking out on the streets, as other notable persons believe that the seeming action of governments to bring in the insurgents pose a serious threat to the peace of Anambra State.
Now, if what I'm hearing, that some convicted Boko Haram people are being planned to be sent to some prisons in Southeast, I want to say emphatically that we don't support it.
What is disturbing, what is infuriating, is the fact that this is not purely a matter of illegality. This is a matter that borders on legality, sensibilities of the people involved, and above all, security. In as much as the federal government has a right to send prisoners to any part of the country, they should appreciate the obvious fact that the global prisons are not meant to harbor people or criminals or suspects of this nature, because it is not a maximum security prison.
Just as agitations of the people of Anambra against the relocation of insurgent prisoners to their state heightens, observers say it's important the federal government address the people's concerns.
Meanwhile, the United Nations Rights Chief is asking Nigerians to show compassion and make it easier for women and girls who became pregnant in Boko Haram's captivity to access abortions. Rights group Amnesty International estimates that Boko Haram militants have kidnapped more than 2,000 women and girls in northeast of Nigeria since the beginning of 2014, including the 276 girls seized from their school dormitory in Chibok last year in a kidnapping that sparked global outrage. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Zaid Ra'ad al-Hussein, told the United Nations Human Rights Council in a special session on Boko Haram that during their captivity, lasting in many cases for months or even years, women and girls have been sexually enslaved, raped and forced into so-called marriages. He adds that many survivors of these horrific experiences are now pregnant, but their rapists and several reportedly wish to terminate the unwanted pregnancies. The Nigerian army has restated its commitment to boosting the morale of its officers and men who have been at the forefront of fighting insurgency in the country. The Chief of Civil and Military Affairs, Major General Donald Orji, restated this commitment at a news conference ahead of the Army Day celebration. He said this year's event will be marked in Maiduguri, Borno State, to reassure the troops and people in the region of their resolve to end the insurgency there. He said that salaries and allowances of troops have been paid to ensure that they put in their best in ending the war against Boko Haram.
The relocation of the Military Command and Control Center for the fight against insurgency to the epicenter of the operations area, as directed by President Muhammadu Buhari, ECFR, is being strictly adhered to. This further consolidates the theme for this year's Nigerian Army Day celebration, which is equipping the Nigerian Army to enhance operational efficiency in combating threats to national security. This year's Nigerian Army Day celebration activities will be low-key and from 1st to 6th July, with the final activities taking place in Maiduguri, Borno State. The choice of Maiduguri to host the closing activities of Nigerian Army Day celebration 2015 was informed by the need to further raise the morale of our troops in the area of operation by showing solidarity to them, as well as to further reassure the people in the northeast part of Nigeria, particularly Borno State, of the renewed determination of the Nigerian Army to end insurgency in that zone.
In part two, after the break, Amina Zakari assumes office as the acting chairperson of INEC. The PDP rejects her appointment as boss of the electoral body. Stay with us.